Oh.
Hindi as well.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
YouTube
Bengali.
English, Facebook English, and the Hindi.
I mean, it won't do any harm to click on all of them. Doesn't hurt us.
Oh.
It's the same amount of data going through. But you never know. They might want to translate later in Bengali. I don't know.
I'll check if
We'd have to ask them. So the Instagram has been black the whole time.
I'm just checking if it's working on.
Yeah. Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram.
Yeah, it's good.
The picture's there, yeah? Oh, okay. Ram Ram Hari Ram.
So that's good. It's too
Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari Hari.
I think that's it.
Now, there's hardly anyone on Facebook or on Facebook.
That's probably because we switched
Oh,
it
yeah.
on and we turned it on again.
Yes, right. But I said that we'd be having a class. Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama Rama Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari. Uh-oh, now. Do I have Prabhupada's books here? I must do, I should do. Ram. Oh, you know what? I don't have Prabhupada's books. You know, I don't have Prabhupada's books on this computer. Let me just see if we can get it to run. Okay, we got it. We got it. Hari Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Good morning. Do you have a tripod? Did you get the message from Anandamaya? No, you can use this one. But he said that the tripod's in there.
I saw that, but I'm just worried because only this one can let me do portrait for now. Sometimes the other tripods, they only allow the landscape.
Okay, you're free to use that.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Don't worry.
We just have to, Nash was telling me apparently you have to just download something to do the landscape thing again. So
I see.
I'll look into it.
All right.
Technology always is some issue.
Oh boy, you're not kidding. Okay, but you've got a tripod like this, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
You've got, yeah, but no, for your general use.
No, I'll ask for approval. We can order one
Okay.
for the temple, or maybe they did. Maybe the one in the AV room is the new one they ordered.
I don't know, yeah.
'Cause
But if you need one, if you can't get one, tell me, we'll get you one. They're cheap.
okay, thank you, Maharaj.
It's like less than 400 rands.
Oh wow, because I think that the one that they got the last time that broke was even cheaper than that. But I mean, that's why it broke. But,
Yeah.
I spoke to Ananda Maya Prabhu about this, so I think maybe he did get.
It's like,
charge.
yeah, less than 300, but you have to pay for delivery if you just get one.
Yes.
Otherwise, if we got a few, then it would be about 250 or less than 300.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. There was a class yesterday, I assume. So, okay, so it's 4:18:8 today.
Yes, today's 8, yes.
Yes, right. Right, okay.
4:18.
4:18:8, yeah.
18:8.
Right.
Okay, that's ready. Over me.
And it picked it up. You listened to it
Yes, usually
the other
when we
day.
start the live streaming, I ask someone's phone and I just check and I check the sound. And even if it doesn't, I will probably get 100 messages saying the volume is not working. Someone will say something. But I'll just check once we start. I always just check on someone else's phone.
Because we could get a microphone, you know, like a lapel microphone.
Yes.
Like something like this, you know, but connect it to that.
Yes. Oh, that's connected to your...
That's connected here, yeah. It's all going through here, through OBS. You know what OBS is? I should learn. It's all very good. But anyway, yeah, you can get also with a cable.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
This
can
is,
just put in like a normal...
it's a USB-C, is it? Or no. Yeah, just the usual little round
the aux.
thing.
Yes.
Right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You're looking fit.
Your mercy, Maharaj.
Krishna.
Maharaj.
But when do they expect you to get off the crutches?
Hoping to get soon, Maharaj. I'm going for physio at the moment, so it is helping me a little.
But do you walk
Yes,
a little bit?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
As I'm walking as well, I try to walk without the stick as well.
right.
So in case I lose balance, I don't have the sticks.
It was your back, wasn't it?
Spine, my spine.
Yes, right. It's
Yeah.
not sore, or it's still.
With a cold, it does affect.
Oh,
And the fingers are bad, cold as well.
or osteoporosis or something.
Yes, and also had that operation.
Yeah.
But I went for an MRI scan last week, Monday. So the scan says that the C4 disc has been damaged. When they did the operation, it shifted a little and it's swollen now. So
Krishna.
it's compressing on the spinal cord. So they gave me some medication and said with physio, within 6 months if it doesn't come right, so I have to go for another operation. So they'll operate between the C3 and C4.
Boy, oh boy.
But I said, Krishna, bless all the Krishna, Namaste Guru Maharaj.
Oh, Krishna.
I will just think, I wouldn't want to go for the operation.
Oh my gosh.
I want to go again through it.
Anyway, make yourself comfortable,
Thank you.
please. What now? It's almost 7:40. Shall we just start?
We can start.
Yes, and cut down
No. Where's our... Oops. Mahaprabhu, Kripa Prabhu, are you on Telegram? Please tell me. My speaker's on so you can speak. Oh, yeah, there's no. Mahaprabhu, Kripa Prabhu, Nias Des. Кажется, меня. Но если вы хотите слышать английский, конечно, я буду говорить по-английски. Пожалуйста. Продолжайте. Okay, anyway, what now? There we go. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giribaradhare. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachare. Yamunatira Vanachare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paramahansa, Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Yeah.
ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Yeah.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Yeah.
Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki.
Yeah.
Shri Giri Govardhan Ki.
Yeah.
Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki.
Yeah.
Sankirtan Yagya Ki.
Yeah.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to their Samo devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to their Samo devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to their Samo devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Now, are we trying to do Instagram? Anybody who knows anything? Because the way the camera's been positioned, I am sort of partially out of the picture because we repositioned the camera. Okay, devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 18, Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet, verse 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nunam Ta Virudha Kshina Mai Kalena Bhuyasa Tatra Yogena Drishtena Bhavan Adatum Arhati Nunam Tavi Rudakshina Maikalena Bhuyasa Tatra Yogena Drishtena Bhavan Adatum Arhati Nunam Taviru Dakshina Maikalena Bhuyasa Tatra Yogena Drishtena Bhavamadatum Arhati Nunam Taviru Dakshina Maikalena Bhuyasa Tatra Yogena Drishtena Bhavamadatum Arhati
Nunam ta virudashina. Nunam ta virudashina. Mahikalina bhuyasa. Mahikalina bhuyasa. Tatra yogana dristina. Tatra yogena drishtena. Bhavan hadatum hadati. Bhavan hadatum hadati.
Nunam tu virudashina.
Nunam ta virudashina.
Mahikalena Bhuyasa.
Mahikalena bhuyasa.
Tatra Yogena Drishtena.
Tatra yogena drishtena.
Bhavan Adatum Arati.
Bhavan adatum arhati.
Mataji's.
Nunam Tavirudashina.
Nunam ta virudashina.
Maikalena Bhuyasa.
Mahikalena bhuyasa.
Tatra Yogena Drishtena.
Tatra yogena drishtena.
Bhavan Adatam Arhati.
Bhavan adatum arhati.
Nunam Tavirudashina.
Nunam ta virudashina.
Mahikalena Bhuyasa. Tatra Yogena Drishtena. Bhavan Adatum Arhati.
Nunam, therefore, ta, those, virudha, herbs and grains, kshina, deteriorated, mai, within me, kalena, in course of time, bhuyasa, very much, tatra, therefore, yogena, by proper means, drishtena, acknowledged, Bhavan, your majesty, adatum, to take, arhati, ought. Yes, so translation, due to being stocked for a very long time, all the grain seeds within me have certainly deteriorated. Therefore, you should immediately arrange to take these seeds out by the standard process, which is recommended by the acharyas or shastras. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When there is a scarcity of grain, the government should follow the methods prescribed in the Shastra and approved by the Acharyas. Thus there will be sufficient production of grains, and food scarcity and famine can be checked. Bhagavad Gita recommends that we perform yajna, sacrifices. By the performance of yajna, sufficient clouds gather in the sky, and when there are sufficient clouds, there is also sufficient rainfall. In this way, agricultural matters are taken care of. When there's sufficient grain production, the general populace eats the grains, and animals like cows, goats, and other domestic animals eat the grasses and grains also. According to this arrangement, human beings should perform the sacrifices recommended in the Shastras. And if they do so, there will no longer be food scarcity. In Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is Sankirtan Yajna. In this verse, there are two significant words, yogena, by the approved method, and drishtena, as exemplified by the former acharyas. One is mistaken if he thinks that by applying modern machines, such as tractors, grains can be produced. If one goes to the desert and uses a tractor, there is still no possibility of producing grains. We may adopt various means, but it is essential to know that the planet Earth will stop producing grains if sacrifices are not performed. The Earth has already explained that because non-devotees are enjoying the production of food, she has reserved food seeds for the performance of sacrifice. Now, of course, atheists will not believe in the spiritual method of producing grains, but whether they believe or not, the fact remains that we are not independent to produce grain by mechanical means. As far as the approved method is concerned, it is enjoined in the Shastras that intelligent men in this age will take to the Sankirtan movement, and by so doing they shall worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, whose bodily complexion is golden and who's always accompanied by his confidential devotees to preach this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. In its present condition, the world can only be saved by introducing this Sankirtan, this Krishna consciousness movement. As we have learned from the previous verse, one who is not in Krishna consciousness is considered a thief. Even though he may be materially very advanced, a thief cannot be placed in a comfortable position. A thief is a thief, and he is punishable. Because people are without Krishna consciousness, they have become thieves, and consequently they are being punished by the laws of material nature. No one can check this, not even by introducing so many relief funds and humanitarian institutions. Unless the people of the world take to Krishna consciousness, there will be a scarcity of food and much suffering. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchkalpatarubhyas Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nunam Taviradakshina Maikalena Bhuyasa Tatra Yogena Drishtena Bhavamadatum Arhate. Due to being stocked for a very long time, all the grain seeds within me have certainly deteriorated. Therefore, you should immediately arrange to take these seeds out by the standard process, which is recommended by the acharyas or shastras. Yes, so devotees, this is continuing on as we mentioned the other day on Tuesday. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks of 6 verses which discuss this principle, and they just flow from one into the other. And we can see, of course I was not there for the class yesterday, but the class on Tuesday here, we can see how this verse has flowed from that. It's a discussion on the same subject and just going deeper into the subject and looking at it from different perspectives, angles of vision like that. And in this way, expanding the understanding of the subject matter. It's interesting how Prabhupada presents things that, just as one example, a very typical example, we are not these bodies. How many times have we heard that? But, and in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is just repeatedly, not every verse, but regularly, surely within each chapter, and maybe sometimes on a few occasions in every chapter, Prabhupada is sort of, what would you say, examining this point, how we're not these bodies, exploring this point and making drawing out different perspectives and understandings and realities which are there on the basis of how we're not these bodies. And it's not exactly, of course, like this, where you've got just one verse after another, just examining the same subject, but it's definitely, he's examining the same subject here and there. And if we were to collect up, which would be a very good idea, to collect up the different statements that he makes on how we're not this body, or how we must chant, how Sankirtan Yajna must be done, how sacrifice must be done, even how governments should function, these types of things, then, it's a whole picture. It's a big picture, so much information about, even just something like, we are not these bodies, which in a sense you can explain quite briefly, and, you will have explained it appropriately, but it can be explained in far more depth, and even many interesting points come out about how we're not these bodies. So here it's about sacrifice, and at least when I was giving class on Tuesday, I mentioned about how that particular verse 6, was talking about sacrifice. Was talking about sacrifice, but Prabhupada in the purport did not at that point mention about which sacrifice exactly, although the point was that sacrifice needs to be done. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything can be used for His satisfaction. This is the whole plan of material nature, like this. So all these things, fruits, flowers, etc., were created for use in sacrifice for the Lord. That was verse 6. So anyway, here we are in verse 8, and now Prabhupada does mention the Sankirtan Yajna. We did mention the other day on Tuesday how there are many Vaishnav temples where the devotees, they're devotees who are running the temples, are trying to run them, in sort of bona fide ways, but they generally, or almost always, but in so many examples, so many cases, they're not actually performing Sankirtan Yajna much. And as a result, we see that those temples are struggling. They're struggling to just carry on. And, I've met, I sort of know, but I've met a few people who run these temples, some of these temples. Like the one fellow's name is Dhruva. He's one of the brothers running the Sringavat temple, just down from Radha Damodar, a little further down the same road. Maybe some of you have been there. And he, there's other brothers, they each have a month or whatever it is, they do the puja, and then the others are not involved directly. And him, when he's not doing the puja, he is a sort of a clerk of the court in Mathura, the magistrate's court in Mathura, and he works there. That sort of occupation is considered Brahminical. Yeah, like being a lawyer is considered to be Brahminical work. So he does that, and however often it's his turn, he comes back, and now he's pujari, and he takes time off being this clerk of the court type of person. So, and all there's just usually one person who does the puja, and maybe someone who cleans, someone else, like just a simple laborer who cleans the premises. And there's no Sankirtan going on. Just worship the deity, which generally they do nicely, and then just leave the deity to sit there during the day, and maybe some more puja. Well, every now and then some puja, some offering. We've had Raj Bhoga Mahaprasadam there before. But there's not really any Sankirtan Yajna going on, although they're Vaishnavas and they're followers of Lord Chaitanya. In their case, they're Nityananda Vangsa. And on one of the walls, when you go up for darshan, on the wall on the left, it is the family tree coming, supposedly, from Lord Chaitanya down to them. Anyway, it's interesting. And like we go to Nandagram usually, and I know the one family at least, the sort of main Pujari family, they're same situation, just on a sort of bigger, more intense scale. And we once, years ago, more than 10 years ago, like 15 years ago, or 12. We had Raj Bhoga Mahaprasadam there, and interesting, the chapatis were about this big. Oh yeah, they were the biggest I've ever seen in my life. They were really big and thin and very nice. Anyway, but where's the Sankirtan Yajna? You know, they bring the people in batches in front of the deities and explain about the deities, which is sort of a bit of Sankirtan-related activity, kind of preaching activity, but real Sankirtan Yajna, going out and glorifying the Lord and spreading and trying to involve other people. It's not really happening. So in those temples where they're not really, where, you know, they're just not so successful, I mean, some of them are in bad shape, actually. Some of them bad shape, and it's all down to a shortage of yajna, insufficient yajna. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport here makes the point that by the performance of yajna, sufficient clouds gather. When there's sufficient clouds, sufficient rainfall. In this way, agriculture goes on, sufficient grain production. The humans eat the grains, animals eat the grains, and we humans also eat the vegetables, and so on. But it's all based on performing sacrifices. The term is, Prabhupada points out the word from the verse, yogena. Yogena, and it may sound like, you know, that the ending ena means by doing, like Krishnena, by Krishna. Krishna did something. So yogena means, you know, we'd think by performance of yoga, but Prabhupada translates it by the approved method. Which, you know, yoga means in this age sacrifice, or in general sacrifice, and drishtena, as exemplified by the former acharyas. So this is what this verse is saying, that the Mother Earth is saying that these grains, she's been withholding them, personally withholding them, deliberately. It's not just that somehow or other they're sitting there and haven't been used because people haven't had access, although of course people haven't had access, but they're not just sitting there, she is withholding them. And because she's withholding them, and they're seeds, they're grains, these things deteriorate over a period of time. So she's saying that you should immediately arrange to take these seeds out by the standard process, which is recommended by the acharyas or shastras. So yes, so that's the point, the particular point here, by the approved method, as exemplified by the former acharyas. That means sacrifice. And in this age, I mean, in every age it means by sacrifice. In this age it means very specifically Sankirtan Yajna, because that's the only sacrifice which is recommended or is going to help in Kali Yuga. Other sacrifices like fire sacrifices, as I think we're all aware, when Prabhupada opened the Krishna Balaram temple, he hired a group of local Brahmins, like real people who they just do sacrifices all the time, and so they have some expertise in chanting the mantras and all the doing everything that's involved in doing those types of sacrifices. But Prabhupada made it very clear, he explains clearly in the Leelamrita that he only did that. He would not have done that if the local residents and the people in general would have taken the temple seriously as a bona fide temple, authorized temple. If our devotees had just done kirtan, sankirtan, during the opening ceremony, if they would have accepted the temple as being bona fide, that's all that would have been done. But because the people, they're just so conditioned by ritualism, so as a strategy, not as a spiritual or any sort of necessity other than strategy, he had these Brahmins come in and do whatever they did. But while they were doing it, the Sankirtan was going on. And Prabhupada makes the point that this is what really gave the sanctity and everything for the installation of the deities, that the kirtan went on. Otherwise, for the rituals, there was just no need, actually no need. Yeah. So yes, of course, the way our devotees do rituals, because we do rituals, and not just initiations and weddings, but some of our devotees do, whatever, different types of fire yajnas for this and that. What about a yajna or something, a ceremony for a new motor car? How's that? I've been in one or two of them. They used to drive over pumpkins, wasn't it? Or something to do with pumpkins. I was just asked to sit in the car once, just for 5 minutes, just sit there. Yes, so anyway. But the main thing is Sankirtan Yajna. Of course, Sankirtan Yajna, there's deity worship can be done in such a way that it's part of the Sankirtan Yajna and not just like an independently performed ceremony in a temple which is a real preaching environment. Then the deity worship is very much part of the process of glorifying the Lord and influencing the people and like that. And similarly, prasadam distribution, it's the same thing. If it's done nicely, with kirtan as much as possible, and with some, telling the people what's going on, about Krishna consciousness and about the prasadam also. All these types of things can be, that they're not necessarily always, but they can be done definitely in such ways that they're like really nice parts of the Sankirtan Yajna. So, but otherwise Srila Prabhupada examines the point that now, and you see in India, the agriculture has become very mechanized, or a lot more mechanized at least than it was when I first went there in 1976. I don't know if there was any mechanization at all, hardly any, but not like today. And using the tractors. I mean, you know, tractors are multi-purpose. You can also use them for pumping water, and they do that. But you know what happens when you do that? The water table, you know, there's sort of not exactly a lake. Well, it's not a lake anyway, but you go down some distance and suddenly you find there's a lot of water there. It's sort of spread out under the surface some way down. And so you can pump it up. And they do that. But what happens is, if there's not enough rain to sort of refill it and keep the level constant, then you pump out all this water to use for your crops. And they call it the water table. It goes down and down until, you know, you've got to go down further and further and further. And in the end, there's just no water left. And then that's really a problem. So in this way, as Prabhupada's saying, these modern agricultural techniques, they're not the solution. For the time being, maybe our production increases, we sell more, we get more money, like that. That's the basic idea. But it's not like it's just that's going to go on for the coming centuries or something, you know. So we have improved agriculture, just like with gold mining. You know, in America there was the gold rush in what they call the Yukon. Back in, I think it was 1849 it started, the 49ers. And they would just go into a river and find lumps of gold. That's what they were doing. They had like these sieves, and they'd put the gravel and whatnot through the sieve and then go through the rocks left, and they'd find pieces of gold. Yeah. I don't know if they did it here, but in America they definitely did. But now, here in this country, just out from Johannesburg to the west, are what they call the Western Deeps. And the gold mines there are going down like, I don't know, I forget, more than a kilometer. And they're bringing up the ore. And it's not like pieces of gold, you know, shiny pieces of gold as they were looking for in the rivers in America at that time. But the gold ore looks like coal. It's black. And then it has to be treated chemically, sort of effectively burned, but treated chemically, then you get the gold. And you know, under high temperature. So yeah. And then comes the cost factor, because when you drill down so far, costs money. Every meter costs money, and all this equipment to bring the stuff up and so on. And sooner or later it becomes uneconomical to run the gold, those gold mines. So yeah, this idea, Prabhupada says, one is mistaken if he thinks that by applying modern machines such as tractors, grains can be produced. Anyway, we mentioned that point about using machines to get water, but now the problem is not enough water, or alternatively, too much water. And then everything gets washed away. We were out there in Tongaat, and you know, some of you may have been there, some of you were there, and it was a storm. Oh, what devastation. It was amazing. And if you see like the drone videos of some of the housing areas, it's amazing. Too much rain and wind. Yeah, so, and it's all because of the lack of sacrifice, shortage of. I mean, it's going on to some degree. We're doing Sankirtan Yajna to some degree, but it's not like being generally performed by the people in general. So as was mentioned the other day, that until Sankirtan Yajna becomes adopted on a wide enough scale, until that time, it's all this sort of thing, food production and so on, it's all going to go downhill. Yeah. So the earth has already explained that because non-devotees are enjoying or trying to enjoy the production of food, she has reserved food seeds for the performance of sacrifice. And of course, people at this point, they don't believe in that. They think it's just some story. But actually it's true. Yeah. Whether they believe or not, the fact remains that we are not independent to produce grain by mechanical means. Yes, so Prabhupada says the world can only be saved by introducing the Sankirtan, this Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna. Comments or questions? Swarup Damodar Prabhu, Jai Sachinandan Prabhu, anyone, everyone?
Earlier on you mentioned, I didn't hear that lawyers, it's a Brahminical college, I mean it's Brahmin.
It's Brahminical.
I thought teaching.
Yeah, teaching. Well, I mean, it's a general opinion. It's a general opinion that it's...
In the case of a criminal lawyer, he's defending criminals and is incriminated in the truth. So Brahminical culture means
right.
the truth.
It's Kali Yuga. But they regard it as Brahminical. Yeah. Well, like even now, at least, you know, in India, Gandhi is definitely a Brahminical Brahmin family. Gandhi. And yeah, Modi is not, he's Vaishya, I don't know what he is actually. But he's not Brahmin, is he? By birth.
He was selling tea, grew up selling tea.
Huh?
They had a little shop, tea shop.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. Okay. But there was some sort of tradition like that in Indian politics since democracy was established, that Brahmins, a lot of Brahmins would be involved. Although, of course, governing is Kshatriya business, but the Kshatriyas are guided or even directed, actually, by the Brahmins in how to govern. But anyway, according to this fellow Dhruva, friendly fellow. I mean, there's another one brother who went on Indradyumna Maharaj's Polish tour, I think. Yeah, for a while. Friendly chappy. Anyway, yeah. I don't know what he does when he's not on doing the altar service, but Dhruva, you can find him in the Mathura courts somewhere.
Shamla was the interpreter to go to the different courts.
That's right, yes. Right. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, devotees, before you run away, we would like to do some prasad distribution to you. Yes, here it comes. It is transcendental fudge. Please come. Come around this way if you don't mind, so we don't knock the cameras or trip on the wires and all that.